skip around a little bit. Yesterday we did 109. So as you get these notes the next couple days, make sure you put them in order. We're going to skip over to 113 because 113 keeps us on track with what we were doing yesterday, which was we were talking about systems of equations and how to solve them using substitution. All right, so the first thing, and I'm going to just kind of keep drilling this until we get it, is, I guess the first thing is, okay, you know what equations are. Because we talked about equations, they have equal signs, but then what did I say linear equations are?
Two or more equations.
Linear equations, what Coleman said, it says they're the type of equations that we can usually put into y equals mx plus b because we can make lines out of them. So linear equations, I would just say they're typically y equals mx plus b type of equation. So this will say typically. Typically, and the reason I say typically is because sometimes you can have a linear equation that's just like x equals 2. And remember, if it's just x equals 2, it's just a vertical line like that. Or if I just said y equals 3, it's just like a flat line like this. But typically, linear equations can be put into y equals mx plus b. Now the reason that's important we know, we're talking about linear equations is because when I'm talking about a system, I'm talking about what? Two or more equations. And specifically, two or more linear equations, because two or more lines. So a system is two or more linear equations. System is, and remember, for us in Algebra 1, we're just going to say it's basically always going to be 2 for us. So a system is two linear equations. When you get into Algebra 2, we'll deal more with, there's occasions where you'll have like 3 or even more. So linear equations are your equations that you can make lines out of, y equals mx plus b. A system is when you have two of them on the same problem, and then what does it mean to be the solution of a system?
Where they cross.
Where they cross. Typically, you're going to have two, and then wherever they cross is going to be your solution. So the solution to a system is where the two lines cross. And remember, where they cross is an ordered pair. It's a point, x comma y, a location where they cross. Now, not on here is a couple other questions I usually want to ask is, okay, so if the solution is where they cross, and here's my lines, so solution's where they cross, what happens when they do this?
Parallel.
They're parallel. Now, if this was your system, what would you say your solution is?
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent or no solution. Yeah, it's called an inconsistent system or no solution, which that happens. Then the third option, so either they cross or they don't. The third option is that they actually are on top of each other, and you got your two lines on top of each other.
Infinitely many.
It's infinitely many solutions because they're crossing here and here and here and here and here.
Dependent.
And that one's called dependent. So your system names are, this is consistent, inconsistent, and dependent. That's one solution, no solutions, or if they're on top of each other, it's infinitely many solutions. So what we're going to do is look at 4 examples, and on all 4 of these examples, what we're going to try to do is solve them using substitution again, just like we did yesterday. The biggest question is, say, when you look at your system and you want to use substitution, what is the number one thing you want to have happen out of these 2 equations?
Y equals or x equals.
Y equals or x equals. It's not always going to happen, but that's what you want, at least one of them. Now, out of these 2 equations, do you have one of them that says y equals?
Yes.
Which one?
Top.
Top one. So here's it. I want y equals. I got it. So look at your y equals equation. And now what I want you to do is circle and sub. Here's what you circle. Y equals this. So circle this right here. Remember that equals is like is. I'm telling you y is this bunch of junk right there. X plus 1/2. Now since y is this junk, I'm going to sub it in for what letter down here? Y. I'm going to go right here, so draw an arrow to the y. Right here. And the key is, okay, it's circle and sub. Now I'm going to rewrite the bottom equation. So I'll put a star right here. And rewrite second equation. But instead of this y, so rewrite the second equation, but instead of this y, I'm going to put this junk right here, x plus 1/2. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. 2x equals, and then I'm going to write x plus 1/2, and then you've got plus 1 and 1/2. And this is what I substituted this in where that y was. And then solve it. If you've done this right, you will have made an equation that only has x's in it, no y's. And you can solve it up. Start by CLTing. What does 1/2 plus 1 and 1/2 make? 2. So this is really 2x equals x plus 2. All right, and I'm still working towards solving this. I got 2x equals x plus 2. What do I want to do next? You have 2x over here, you have 1x over here, so what are we going to do?
You're going to minus x from that side and over.
When we have x on both sides, let's come to the one over here on the right side, and let's kill it by putting a minus x on each side. And the good thing about 2x minus 1x is it just becomes what? X equals 2. And you're done. I like it when it goes 2x minus 1x because it's just x equals 2. Now that is not the answer. That is half of the answer. Look at your 4 answer choices. Which ones have 2 being the x? A doesn't.
All but A.
B does. C, that's 2 and 1/2, right?
Oh.
So B had it right here, and D has it right here. So the problem is, if you guess, it's only 50-50. There's a way you want to be certain. So remember, once you've got x equals 2, what I want you to think mentally, I circled it, and I want you to circle it, and I want you to mentally think you have permission to do what with that 2?
Use it as the X.
Use it as any x anywhere above here. I would go way back to the beginning of the system and say, okay, where does it benefit you best to put a 2 in? You could put a 2 in here if you wanted to, or you could put a 2 in here. Which equation do you think is going to be easiest for you? The top one, really. Because y is 2 plus 1/2. And that's it. What is 2 plus 1/2?
2.5.
2.5. So do you see an answer where it says y is 2.5? Yeah, that's it. So just go back, sub it into the original system. So say let's say sub 2 in for x. To get y equals 2 plus 1/2. So y equals 2 and 1/2. So sub the 2 in for x in that first equation. Y equals x plus 1/2. To get y equals 2 plus 1/2, so y equals 2.5. So your answer is D. All right, this next one up is, I mean, it's almost so simple, it's like, it kind of messes with your head a little bit. All right, so let's say this pops up. Now, you need to tell yourself that's a system. How do you know you're looking at a system when you're looking at this? What do you got?
That's an equation.
It's an equation, or is it what?
Linear equation.
1 or 2?
Oh, 2.
It's 2. So when you see that I got 2 equations, I must be dealing with a system. I want to see if I can use substitution here. So what is it that I want if I'm going to use substitution? What do you want to have happen? Y equals or x equals. Do you have one of those?
Yeah, both of those.
You kind of have both of those. Let's just go from left to right. It's y equals, right? So you have a y equals equation. So what do you do when you have y equals? Let's circle something and then sub it. What am I going to circle? So yeah, y equals whatever's over here. If there's a bunch of stuff over here, I'm circling all of it. It just happens to be that there's one thing over here, it's just a little x. Circle the little x. Y equals x. All right. And now I'm going to take that x and I'm going to sub it in. If y is this, where am I going to sub this in for? What letter?
The Y.
We'll sub it in for the y, right here.
So I wouldn't even change it, would it?
So instead of saying negative 7y, if I rewrite this, I'm going to say negative 7x. So this equation becomes negative 7x equals negative 6 minus x. Negative 7x equals negative 6 minus x. And then let's work this out. I have x's on both sides. I have negative 7x here and negative x here. What do you want to do about that? Thoughts, ideas, what do you got? X's on both sides.
Minus the one on the right, or plus it.
Plus the one on the right, right? So if you're going, okay, here's an x piece, and here's an x piece, let's kill this one by adding it. So you're going to put plus x. Okay, what is negative 7 plus 1? Oh, not sure. Negative 7 plus 1, everyone wants. It's negative 6, yeah. Negative 7 plus 1. If you're not sure, you can go ahead and check it, but it's negative 6. X equals negative 6. Then what? Divide, and what's x going to be?
1.
Positive 1. X equals positive 1. Okay, if x equals positive 1, what do you think y is going to be? Y equals x. No,
It's
x,
the same exact thing.
x is positive 1, then what's y? Also positive 1. So your answer is 1, 1. Now, before we go on to the next one little mental thing here. I got a fresh piece of paper here. Same problem. Let's say you're looking at the system from the very beginning. Here's one thing you can do, a trick about when you get a system and your very first equation says this. It's kind of special, it's kind of weird. Y equals x. That basically means y is the same as x. So if you're looking at your answer, expect that y and x are going to be the exact same thing. Y is x, x is y. So look at your 4 answer choices and tell me how many show x and y being the exact same number. Well, there's one. That's not, because they're not the same. There's one as well. And that's not. So you kind of know it's either going to be, from the very beginning, it's either going to be A or C. It's going to be one where x and y are the same number. Then you just have to figure out what that number is. Okay, let's look at the next one. And you kind of have a choice on the next one, so I'm going to let you kind of by vote tell me what we're going to do. All right, I'm looking at a system. I'm thinking I'm going to use substitution, so what do you want if you're going to use substitution? Y equals or x equals. What do you have here? Both. Okay, if you have both, you get to choose. Do you want to use the first equation or second equation for the circling? It's not.
Second.
Okay, who agrees with doing the second one? I got 2 votes for the second one. Who wants to circle and use the first one? I got 4 votes for the first one. Okay, so if we're going to use the first one, y equals, what am I going to circle? 18x minus 5. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to circle this. Those of you, if you want to go the other way,
I'm going the other way.
you circle this. But, so Patrick, if you're going to circle this, you're going to sub it into the x right there. Now, we're going to circle that, and I'm going to sub it in for what letter? Y. This y right here. Now, there's one little catch. I'm going to rewrite the second equation. So I'm going to rewrite second equation. But do you see that the y has a coefficient with it? If you go to sub this crap right here into this, and you have a coefficient in front of it, we're going to have to say x equals, put the coefficient, and then put that whole circle business in a parenthesis. So you got 18x minus 5 in a parenthesis. The only time you have to do the parenthesis is if you go to sub into a letter that has a coefficient with it. So I have to go 1/9 times that. And now what do you think I'm going to do with my 1/9? Starts with a D, distribute. Okay, so now x equals, what is 1/9 times 18? 2x. And then this one's not going to be pretty. 1/9 times negative 5. Yeah, it's not pretty, but that's what it is. But the good thing is, this is an equation that does not have y in it, it's just x. Any suggestion for what happens next?
Minus 2x.
Yeah, that's fine. If we got x's on both sides, let's kill that one. So let's minus the 2x over. 1 minus 2 is negative 1, so you get negative x equals negative 5/9. So what's regular x? Positive 5/9. So we just change.
See, that's why you should have went with the first one, because you would have got the answer right off the bat.
Yeah, that's, well, look, if you look at our 4 answer choices, 3 of them have x as 5/9, right? So it could be A, it is not this one. It could be C or D. Okay, so x is 5/9. Let's put that 5/9 somewhere though. Go back to the original system. Which equation do I want to put 5/9 into? You can't really go wrong, but which one might be the easiest?
The bottom one. I mean, no, the top one.
The top one. If you put the 5/9 here, then you would just have to divide by 1/9. Put it into the top one though, and you get 18 times 5/9. I'll go ahead and do it. 18 times 5/9 minus 5. So if you put it in 18 and 5/9 minus 5, you get positive 5. So y is positive 5. So I'm looking at V. And so I guess that's right, you did it the other way. And you just got y is 5, and there's only one answer that says y is 5. So if you did it that way, it worked a little bit easier this time. You never know which way though. Alright, I got a little problem. I got a system. I want to use substitution. What do I want though? If I'm going to try substitution, what do I want to see?
An x or y.
An x or y equals. Do I have that? No. So there's a little bit of a problem. I don't have x or y equals. I got 1/2 x plus y. I got 18x plus 18y. So do you remember kind of what we did yesterday when you have this situation? Yeah. Look at your your x and your y's. This one's got a coefficient. This one's got a coefficient. This one's got a coefficient. This one doesn't. So
Different.
for what? Oh yeah, no. Well, we haven't got to elimination method yet. Yeah, well, that's where we're going to get tomorrow. You can do this with elimination. We're just not there yet. Okay, so this one does not have a coefficient, so this is the one. If we could just move this over there, we'd have y equals. How do I move that 1/2 x?
Subtract it off.
Yes. If I just minus 1/2 x on each side, what would that top equation become? Y equals what?
Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 36.
Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 36. And once you've done that, you can kind of scratch this out. We haven't got rid of that equation. I just tweaked it a little bit so it works and it has what we want in it. It has y equals. What do I do once I got my y equals?
Put y in for, put that equation in for y.
Yeah, put this right here in for y, right?
Yeah.
Put this in for the letter y right there. Okay, so I'm going to go rewrite this top equation. However, since y has a coefficient, what do I have to do? Parentheses. So I'm going to have to go 18x plus 18 times all that equals 18. And that's going to go negative 1/2 x plus 36. All right, so I've got it subbed in. Now I've got to solve it. And this kind of looks like a lot. Start with what though? Start with distributing. So turn this into, that's going to be what, negative 9. And then that's going to be a huge number. So I'm going to go to 18x minus 9x. And then what's this big number right here?
648.
648 equals 18. Okay, so there's your distribute. CLT, 18 minus 9 is what? 9. So you really have 18x minus 9x makes 9x. Okay, it's getting a little simpler. What's going next?
648.
Minus the 648. And now 9x equals its negative 630. And we are so close. Finish it by divide. Finish it by dividing. It's going to be negative. What is it? Is it 70?
Yeah, 71. Hold on. No, it's negative 70.
It's negative.
Negative 70 equals x. Basically, you're right. You're interested.
Negative 70.
You're looking at y, you're looking at x.
Okay, x equals negative 70. You have two options that have negative 70, so that doesn't, you can't be done here. It's either B or D. How am I going to figure out which one it is?
Put that in for x on one equation.
Yeah, put that in for x on one of the equations. Which one do you think is going to be the easiest for us out of these two?
Probably the second one.
Yeah, probably this one.
Yeah.
You could put it in here, it would work, but I would put it in, go negative 1/2 times negative 70 plus 36. Negative 1/2 times negative 70 plus 36. And I'm getting positive 71. Okay, and that's it for our substitution method. The biggest thing is knowing that you're looking at a system, and if you want to use substitution, what is it that you want to see?
X equals or y equals.
X equals or y equals, so that you can circle and sub. And that covers objective 113, very similar to 109.